Most people, they do a Spartan race, they get the bug. I laid it all out on the line. Like when I got to the finish line, I collapsed. Like I was literally almost dying. There was nothing left.
What's up, Saitos? Welcome back to the Sensei Says, a podcast inside my podcast dojo in Saint-Julie, Quebec, Canada. I am Sensei Pascal. I hope you're doing amazing. Thank you for choosing my podcast today, whether you're listening on the Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, or watching on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, like, hit the bell so you know firsthand when I post new content. Share to a friend and engage with me on the Twitters at Sensei Pascal. My mission, my passion is to deliver you weekly discussions with inspirational people. And while I'm listening or discussing with them, I dig out some actionable advice that hopefully will improve your life and mine as well. And this week's guest is a Spartan SGX coach. And you'll say, what is Spartan SGX, Sensei? And I'll say, here's the answer. SGX stands for Spartan Group Exercise. SGX is the official training program of Spartan Race, obstacle racing, mud racing, all that kind of stuff. And I met with Michael Haskett. He is a Spartan SGX coach. I met him. Super cool guy at his own private gym in Montana. We discussed how he got into OCR, what the status of his life was when he discovered Spartan racing, what OCR brought to him as a human being, and how he got engaged as a Spartan trainer. But also, we point out 3 key weaknesses that you might have right now in your own training routine, and we'll offer you solutions, training methods, exercises that you can do now to overcome these weaknesses.
So tell me about how you started in OCR, where you started from, and everything in between.
How I started in OCR?
Yeah, there you go.
I just moved to Bozeman, Montana. It was December 2012. I moved here. Was just kind of getting established, and in the springtime, about 9 or 10 days before the race in May, I saw this ad for the Spartan Race. I'm like, man, that looks so cool. It was Big Fork, Montana. I had no idea where Big Fork, Montana was, but I'm like, I knew I had to go do this race. I just I'd lost everything in the crash of 2008, 2009, and was kind of just rebuilding myself back up. I'd actually went through and lost my health and everything. I'd always been really fit, like rock climbing, alpine mountaineering, whitewater boating. I led a very active lifestyle. And when the economy crashed down, I ended up losing my work. I lost my health as well and all the passions, my rock climbing, everything. I ended up getting about 30 pounds overweight. I just recently gone through a transformation, just recently got fit again. I saw the ad for the Spartan Race. I'm like, man, that looks awesome. I don't know where Big Fork, Montana is, but it's in Montana, and I know I have to be there. It was the Spartan Sprint 2013.
Wow. And had you trained for the race itself, or when you started the thing and hit your first obstacle, you went, oh my God, what is that?
Yeah, well, I hadn't trained for the race or anything, but I was really fit. But the only thing was I had not run. I think it had been almost 26 years since I had run. Back in high school was the last time that I had actually run. But I got to the race. Actually, I ran a clean race. I even stuck the spear throw.
Did you?
Yeah.
So you hadn't practiced the spear throw at all? That's the first time in your life that you've seen that and you hit it?
No, actually there was a pre-race party the night before in Kalispell, Montana.
Oh, there you go.
And so they had a band playing and they had a spear throw set up there. It was the Sportsman's Ski House in Kalispell.
So while people were drinking, you were practicing your spear all night long?
No, actually I threw the spear and I missed it. And there was actually just a very short line, about 20 people. So I got back in the line and threw the spear, and it stuck like dead center of the target when I got back there. And I laser etched that spear throw into my mind, and I just burned it in there. I'm like, I never want to miss that spear throw again, because I knew the penalty was 30 burpees. I'd researched, I'd watched all these YouTube videos, and
you didn't want that at all.
I knew what I was up against, and I was psyched to see that there was a spear throw there. And then when I stuck that spear, I burned it into my mind, and I think I had run 9 races before I missed a spear throw.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's super good for a beginner. Right? Well, after 9 races, you're not a beginner anymore. So what was the progression from the first sprint? When you crossed that finish line, what was the feeling? Were you hooked at once and went into full blast into the Spartan spirit?
Absolutely. Just like, everybody, most people, they do a Spartan race, they get the bug. I laid it all out on the line. Like when I got to the finish line, I collapsed. Like I was literally almost dying. There was nothing left. I mean, I took off. Like it was a sprint. Like I sprinted the whole thing pretty much, redlined and collapsed at the finish line. Felt amazing, but I hurt so bad. My calves, especially, I could barely walk for the next 5 days. Even to put my shoes on was a challenge, let alone getting up and walking. We had planned to go do some rock climbing after that, and that was.
You didn't go?
I was a belayer, and it was hard to belay, actually.
Did you go from the sprint to the super right away, or did you do a couple of sprints and then? Okay, I'm gonna do the blue one.
Yeah, I think the next race I did was the Salt Lake City. This was 2013, so it was in Midway, Utah. It was a Spartan Beast.
So from the sprint directly to the Beast in Salt Lake City, where I'm sure the mountains were pretty steep. Yeah. Were they?
It was a hard course, man. It tore me up. It chewed me up and spit me out. I never cramped so bad. Like I experienced severe cramps on that race.
So no rock climbing there either after the race.
That wasn't part of the plan anyway. But yeah, it chewed me up. It hurt me pretty bad.
So when did you start training people to maybe follow in the path that you just had taken with Spartan racing?
So it was 2014. I decided to become a personal trainer. I just man, this has impacted my life. I want to have other people experience the transformation of change and fitness and training for a Spartan race. So I was man, I need get certified, learn about this, and then I saw the Spartan SGX coach certification, and that kind of ended up at the same time as I was getting my personal trainer certification. So I did them, and that was right before the Killington 2014 race.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
that one, that dreaded one. That was my first beast ever. And that's always a funny thing that I tell about that one. Like I did the Agogi, I did a bunch of hurricane heats, but in my mind, that beast is still the worst thing I've ever done in my life, because it was my first beast ever. Killington, I didn't know what Killington was, let alone the Death March was. I started the race with only that much of Gatorade, I had no nutrition preparation whatsoever, and I had the worst experience of cramps in my life ever. I think I was at 2/3 of the distance below the barbed wire, started cramping up for an hour. I lost an hour underneath the barbed wire, trying to stretching my hamstrings. Then my quads would cramp. I would stretch my quads. Then my buttocks would cramp. I mean, that was the worst feeling in the world. But then you cross the finish line, and by that time you had done, I think, an ultra.
That was my first ultra, was the Killington Ultra.
So I almost died on the beast, and you were doing an ultra.
How I almost died on the ultra, yeah.
So you did both death marches, I'm guessing, and all the obstacles in between?
Yeah.
All right, and you saw, I think, a couple of people finishing their death race, you told me earlier.
Yeah, I think that was the race where there were people doing the death race. The end of the death race was the Ultra Beast.
So after 50, 60 hours of nonstop grinding, there's an Ultra Beast. And by the way, it's on Killington.
Yeah, Killington. Yeah, that was no part of that madness for me.
So on the Sensei Says podcast, what we usually do is give three pieces of advice on a precise subject. So from your expertise, what are the three weaknesses that you've seen throughout your training career, like amongst your trainees, that people should work on right away if they intend to either start Spartan racing or go up a level, like from the sprint to the super, super to the beast, and so on? So what would be the three main weaknesses that you have identified?
Okay, three weaknesses.
Or points that people should improve on?
Well, the first weakness that so many people have is in the mind, is they don't realize how much they're capable of. And it's shattering limitations in the minds. Like, people come in and they think that they're never going to be able to climb a rope. They're never going to be able to do monkey bars. And so much of that is mental. When you can break it down into simple steps and show them how it's done, like, they're doing things faster than they ever thought is possible. So it's getting your mindset is the first thing. That's the first weakness. We limit ourselves in the mind so much.
So letting go of anxiety, maybe just enjoying the process, and by the same token, your performance will go up, and you won't even be aware of that you're doing better than you thought you would. So what would be the second one?
The second one for a Spartan race is the running.
Running.
Is running.
Basic running.
Yeah. So many people come in, they're not runners, and running is difficult for people that are not running. So you got to focus on the running. If you want to go in and really do your best, you have to focus on running.
So maybe if you intend on doing their first sprint for next season, maybe start a slow, progressive running program as you approach racing day. What do you think?
Yeah, a slow, progressive program, and maybe not even start out with running. Start out with biking, with cycling, with rowing, and just building an aerobic base, and then adding running into it, just kind of based on where the athlete's experience
so
is.
Cross training would be good in that case.
Absolutely.
And third and final one, weakness we should work on.
The third and final weakness?
Yes.
It's the grip strength. You got to have the grip strength endurance, or those overhead obstacles, the swinging obstacles, the monkey bars, the rings, the rope climbs are going to tear you up. So you got to work that grip strength endurance.
And how do you advise we do that as participants? Maybe some exercises or routines for improving your grip strength.
Well, some great things to do are carrying heavy things, farmer's carries, picking up kettlebells, picking up dumbbells, heavy buckets, carrying things, sandbags with different types of grips are going to help with that. Hanging from a bar, dead hangs. Switching your grips on the bar, overhand to underhand, are going to be great things as well. And building up your upper body strength with pull-ups and inverted rows and things like that are going to help as well.
All right, so for all Spartans in the Montana area, because it's super huge area, it's a huge state, as I found out driving in.
Oh, yeah.
But it's beautiful, like prairies and mountains. It's just amazing. The best spot to train for Spartan racing is right here. So where can they find you? On the web also.
Yeah, it's SpartaOCRtraining.com.
All right.
Yeah.
How about we drop the mics and do some burpees now?
Okay.
And we did not do those burpees. And that's that. And we are moving on. But we did have a workout. We're going back to what we learned from Michael today, from his expertise as a Spartan SGX coach. So your three weaknesses that you might have right now in your training. Number one is your mindset. So for whatever challenge you're contemplating doing or finishing, it's always a matter of doubting yourself. And again, like, we're at our 13th episode so far, and it's been a recurrent theme. Self-confidence, facing the fear, going forward, doubting yourself has been a recurrent theme. So it's something that we all should work on as human beings. Our self-confidence, there's a plurality of ways to do that. And especially as a martial artist, as a karate instructor, that was my expertise daily, to mentor people, to lead people through their fears and towards a better version of themselves. So if we come back to the mindset needed to overcome your challenges, maybe step by step is a right way to go, but please take a note with this. There's never going to be a challenge that won't scare you, through which you won't doubt yourself. And I'm going to give you an example from one of my favorite people of all time on this planet Earth, one of my idols, Georges St-Pierre, GSP, the MMA/UFC legend. And when I heard GSP himself revealing that each and every fight for him was a source of fear. He never went in the octagon without fear. And he did made it as a legend. So that was important to me. That was key for me, that if an elite, a legend like GSP is always facing his fears, always experiencing fear, like at his level, then I'm good. It's just a normal thing and I have to deal with it. I have to come up with some solution to overcome that, not let that stop me with my performance, but try to find a way to maybe just flip it around and use it as a fuel. And we're going back to Patrick Sweeney, the Fear Guru. If you haven't watched the interview, go through the archives. He's a specialist at all things fear, and you'll see correlations to what I'm saying right now. So first, mindset, work on that. Give yourself small steps to overcome to give you progressive confidence. And that way, I think, building on your confidence, you're going to be able to take on more difficult challenges. Number 2, running, because it's a race. If you do a Spartan race, you'll have to run. So practice that. And I think that was a really smart advice from Michael. To start building your base was a really good piece of advice. So cross training, and that way, just to build your engine, your cardiovascular capacity through swimming. I really enjoy swimming. I think it's one of the most potent exercises out there. Low impact, if not any impact on the joints. And then as you gain confidence and comfort, start a slow-paced run program. So 1K maybe just to fill it out, 3K, moving on to 5, then 7, then 10, and that's it. Third, and not the least for OCR, it's grip strength. And that's the most important weakness in a majority of OCR runners. But again, if you want to do some functional training, just climb a rope without like participating into a Spartan race, it's important to have grip strength. If you want to carry some heavy weights around, just have fun with buckets, you have to develop your grip strength. And for all overheads, like there's a plurality of obstacles that require a decent amount of grip strength and overhead movement, like the monkey bars, the rings, the multi-rig, the rope, name it. There's a bunch of them. So I would say first work on your grip. So if you got like those squeezable thingies, I can't, grip strength trainers, I guess, like those, you can find those at in climbing shops. I actually bought one of them. Like the highest level, you can practice like single fingers. You can practice your crush grip, your pinch grip. I used to carry one in my car. So while I was driving, of course, do it safely. Maybe cut in traffic, I would have one hand on the wheel and the other like practicing my grip strength. Now, what I'd like to know is your pieces of advice. Do you have exercises to overcome the weaknesses we spoke about? How do you improve your running, your grip strength? How do you prepare yourself mentally come race day to push yourself and crush your goal? Please leave it in the comments on YouTube, or just drop me a line on Twitter at Sensei Says Pod or at Sensei Pascal. If you need to revisit the pieces of advice, take notes and things like that, it's always available in the show notes or video description on the YouTube. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review on Apple Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, hit the bell, and sign up to the newsletter, senseisays.link/sign up if you want to get the episodes fast and first. Go nuts through my archives. We've got 12 other episodes to choose from. On that note, Saitos, you are dismissed. Thank you for watching/listening. I'll see you next week.
Nutrition is a big key. Eating as clean as possible, but not sacrificing what you love. There is always ice cream.
If you can move well, you'll set yourself up to do whatever it is, your goal, your dream. If you want to run an obstacle course race, whatever it is, move well first and then let everything open from there.